So Collider recently has been very, very busy. Very, very busy writing bullshit article after bullshit article. So there was this, a lot of people have talked about this. This isn't the actual highlight of what I want to talk about here, but this has been talked about by a lot of people. Star Wars' biggest problem is the fans. I mean, this falls on deaf ears now with a lot of people. With a lot of people, this falls on deaf ears. I mean, there was that inverse article where they said, Star Wars isn't the problem, you are. Again, pointing the fingers at the fans. That you're the problem. You're the ones that are, and I think this is the article where Leslye Headland actually does talk about the review bombing and how it was expected and all of that sort of thing. But the thing that I really want to talk about from Collider is this. The Acolyte's hottest ship. You read it right. The Acolyte's hottest ship is built on them being equals. There's no manipulation. This article basically goes on to talk about how the intention was to put shipping specifically into the show, despite how that makes you feel or think about if the characters should be even doing this. Leslye Headland says it's so clear what's going on between Osha and Camille, I don't know, in The Acolyte. None of this makes sense because she's just not witnessed him killing all of her friends, killing all of the people that she knows. And people are lapping this up. The shipping is going absolutely insane. The shipping's going absolutely insane. And I love the fact that we talked about that in that parody video that we did, where we said that there's no room for shippers. Well, not only are there people out there shipping characters, but they decided to pander to that particular side of the fan base in this episode. Collider says, 1 year ago, I looked you in the eyes at Star Wars Celebration, and I asked you if we were getting enemies to lovers in the Acolyte, and look at us now. Who would have thought? Leslye Headland's response is, we made it. And then she laughs in her cackling laugh, I have no doubt.
A considerable margin. And
somehow we made it. I was terrified when you asked me that question because I'm not a great actor. No, well, you're certainly not a great director either. I was like, just tell her no and move on. So when she asked her at Star Wars Celebration, she must have had this reaction, right? Because then it goes on and the Collider interviewer says, there was definitely panic in your eyes. How does she know? Luckily, it wasn't recorded. It wasn't on video. It's only up here in my mind. And then Leslye, thank God. So during the interview, they obviously didn't ask her. It must have been either after they finished or before they started filming or whatever the case may be. But then she goes on to basically, I'm not going to read this, but then basically goes on to say that there's a bit of debate out there in regards to the name of the ship that we want, right? Whether or not it's Oshmere or whether or not it's Oshamere. And she says, I like Oshamere personally. I like her full name. Of course, it's got to be her full name and not his full name because you just hate all men. This is cringe as hell. Cringe as hell. The fact that we're getting this dynamic where the people creating the show are pandering to these quote unquote Disney fans, right? When the other thing too is like, we're supposed to be being told that this is for like 12-year-olds. Like, why are you criticizing it? It's for 12-year-olds. Like, everything that I saw in this episode would confuse not only the shit out of a 12-year-old, but those dynamics that we see, that creepiness that we see in this episode, that's beyond me. How this is actually made for 12-year-olds. Star Wars is for everyone that wants to be a part of it. but the fact that they're bringing in the shipping. You know, Leslye went on to say how she was inspired by the Reylos, by the fanfic that's out there. Crazy. And I'm very disappointed. Very disappointed.